Hey Rusty, how are you doing today?
I'm well, Shankar. I'm doing well. How are you?
Very good. Thank you, Rusty. And thank you so much for joining the session today. This is part of our series that we call as iPredict Conversations, which where we really have a talk show with senior leaders from various industries, such as manufacturing, and we would like to hear from you regarding what are the various trends and innovations that's happening in the industry. So really looking forward to an engaging session with you today.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
In fact, just to build this conversation further, we see many of these trends and the technology stacks, that we were talking about, be it cloud, be it AI, ML, is actually opening up opportunities, across the board for businesses to. In fact, you'll recollect that in the pandemic era, we saw huge opportunities to adopt for companies to move away from B2C to B2C, and also from B to B2C, right? That enabled manufacturers to get so close to their customers. And then, the supply chain disruptions, forcing customers to really look at technology and data to become more intelligent and also more reactive to their customers. So my next question to you, Rusty, would be around how do you really see some of these changes that are happening in the technology stack? How will it really allow global organizations to really reorient their business processes or their time to market?
Great question. I think, let's say medium term to long term, right? I see significant opportunity for true process transformation. And I think that will bring unprecedented stakeholder interaction, far beyond, I think, what we see today. It's not hard to think about as a manufacturer, right? The interaction with customers, right? The interaction with suppliers. I'm excited to see what the next generation of customer and supplier real-time collaboration will be, but it's upon us, right? It's upon us now. I think if I think about it from a manufacturer point of view, I think it, quickly moves us to an improved fit to requirements, right? For the product itself. And then ultimately, I think the speed and the efficacy and the efficiency by which that's done impacts, the ability for you to differentiate yourself, right, in a marketplace for the customers that you serve and with the ecosystem of partners and suppliers that you have. So I think all that can happen rapidly, iteratively, across multiple tiers, right, in a traditional vertically oriented value chain, right, or let's say customer to supply chain, that in the end increases the speed at which things happen, right? And I think that's a wonderful thing, right, to be able to serve customers in that way. And then ultimately it should also lower the cost, right, to serve customers, which should bring value for all the participants, I think, in the ecosystem. I think, again, if I think about manufacturing companies specifically, it's going to change, challenge their, design and configuration to manufacturing, distribution, service, depending on whatever the back end of their, let's say, output or services. And I think we see it now in many cases over and over, but, obviously it creates new service adjacencies, right, to the product itself. And in many cases, it's possible that the service becomes the product, right? And we've seen that evolution take place in in some capital intensive industries, right, in the past, that too may become more manifested, more prevalent in, let's say, products that are historically have a lower cost, right, to provide or serve. And so I think that provides wonderful opportunities for new marketplaces, new capabilities for customers, new opportunities to serve customers. But it will, again, back to the very first point, in the medium to long term, requires fundamental true process transformation of let's say, to a degree to which we have yet to see generally.
Great response. Thanks, Rusty. Yes, process transformation is going to be the true mantra for success for a lot of companies, right? As we move forward in their digital transformation journey. In fact, talking about, some of these investments in IPs, partnerships, all system integrators as well as ecosystem providers are investing in building solutions, frameworks that can help in accelerating these changes, right? HCL Tech, we ourselves are digital partners for some of our top Fortune 500 companies and help in evolving and building their competencies, accelerators, solutions, as well as frameworks. We have created labs, in various areas, be it Gen AI labs, IoT labs, Industry 4.0 labs, to really drive these accelerators for our customers. So my question to you is, as a CIO for a global Fortune 500 company, how do you believe system integrators and SIs should work jointly with manufacturing organizations to chart out their journeys of growth?
Yeah, I think, one of the benefits, right, I think of being such a broad spectrum, right, service provider is truly the breadth of coverage, right, and the visibility that you have across industries, right? So I think one of the key questions or challenges would be, or should be, how do you harvest those observations, right, and insights, while respecting confidentiality, without wasting your time, right, trying to chase every potential opportunity that may not bring value for customers or for you. But then you got to figure out how to share those with clients, right, in ways that help them understand, right, the relevancy of those concepts or those capabilities, and then probably most importantly, they're directly aligned with their objectives and their strategies. And then move quickly to how do you partner to apply them, and then ultimately help them be more successful. So, I would certainly recommend some form of formalized, efficient process to target, assess, and share within verticals and across verticals. Certainly more challenging probably across verticals, right? And probably perhaps longer term, right? Outlook for some of those things. But I think there's got to be some opportunity, some mechanism, right, to try to do that. Obviously, automation could probably play, a role in helping you and other service providers do that. I think that, something that you have done that I participated in with you and others and found great value in, obviously, are customer forums, industry forums, et cetera. Those are wonderful opportunities to promote, thought leadership and opportunities, right, for perhaps new collaborative efforts and to build new partnerships and new frameworks and new relationships, in order as a important contributing member, right, of your industry or your ecosystem. So, I think another factor might be, how do you, thinking recently maybe about some of our experiences together, right, when I was at Tenneco, I think there's no substitute for deep functional expertise. In most cases, when we're changing how we work, right, or how something is performed, we have to have best-in-class process capability that needs to be enabled, right, or automated somehow. And you're helping clients often go from one way of working to another. And there is no substitute for deep functional experience, right, and transformation. So I think bringing that to the forefront, and then we've talked about it earlier, collaborating carefully for outcome-based, mutual risk-reward types of pursuits, I think is a responsible way to behave. And I think that kind of approach can really help foster the adoption, right, of capabilities that you might see elsewhere in a vertical, or maybe even in an adjacent vertical. But obviously you want to do that with a very strong mutual understanding, right, of current state, capability, risk, and value to be obtained. But in some cases, I think there's a real place for that. And I think when it's done correctly, can bring great value, right, to customers, right, and to maybe even as a way to introduce new capabilities to a vertical entirely, perhaps.
No, absolutely. I think well said. I could clearly see the experience that you bring working with service providers like us. How can companies such as ours really bring in experience across multiple verticals, be it in areas of automation, or the point that you brought up regarding functional expertise, domain knowledge. I think that's going to be the biggest focus area where you can really start truly bringing value to the customer. My last question to you, Rusty, is what are your final thoughts? What are your messages to business leaders as well as visionaries across manufacturing organizations, as well as to system integrators like us, to maintain a status quo and to drive future innovations?
Yeah, kind of I think a humbling question, right? That I'm sure many could probably espouse much better than I can. I think what's probably important is I would encourage leaders to continue to do the right things and do them well, right? And I'm probably borrowing a little bit from Drucker when I say that, but there's no substitute for that. And I think one of my observations is that the companies that are leaders that are able to continue to bring a long-term view to their strategic orientation and their value creation, it seems like they are able to bring the most value, right, to the stakeholders, right, that they serve. So you've got to be successful, month to month, quarter to quarter, and you have to be able to overcome many unforeseen challenges. But that long-term view is essential, I think, to truly differentiating, what you do and how you do it. Tactically, you've got to plan, execute, and adjust every day, right? I'm sure there's a famous saying, right? The plan is worthless, right? Planning is everything. So understanding those dependencies and what the subsequent actions could be or should be, I think, is important. I think you don't do it without a team, and I would encourage leaders to support, develop, recognize, reward their teams, because this won't happen without truly engaged team members in every role, right, across an enterprise. And then maybe lastly, for themselves personally, continue to lead authentically, continue to learn, continue to try to improve yourself, and continue to contribute as best you can, right, to your organizations. Often, I'm sure many are vibrant organizations, and they're trying to do good things, right, in the world, or great things, right? Doing good things great. So I would encourage people to try to lead authentically, and I think then they have their best potential, right, to unlock the most value, right, for the stakeholders that they're serving.
What a response, Rusty. Great response. Fantastic conversation. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really hope that service providers and can work with clients such as yours, and can really truly transform companies, customers.